Hi guys, and welcome to the Trafford Trinity podcast. I am your host Kiri, and I'm joined by our lovely and entertaining new streaming platform, StreamYard. And yeah, any others. Say hi, others.
Hello.
Hello.
All three of us on the camera now. We've upgraded.
Yeah, we prayed for times like this.
We've made it.
Edit, man. I can actually see your face in HD now. It's amazing. My life is now made.
I feel I've got my money's worth with this laptop. It's the same laptop as the last one, but I'm in like 1080p now.
Jeez. Heavy heights.
As opposed to like 140p from the past couple of episodes.
Elliot, is your laptop charged?
That's not the person you should be asking.
Why? Why? Who should I be asking?
Runthy. Your laptop charged.
No, so guys, so basically, this is our second attempt at recording because we forgot to charge the laptop.
Oh, I've had a long day, guys.
You just disappeared after like 3 minutes.
Hey, I was late 3 minutes last time, but
That's true.
There we go.
So I have an excuse to do something bad, and because I've got something, one up on me.
It's basically some sort of chaos that happens before every podcast we do. That's the story to
Which is
take out
true.
of it.
right. So let's talk about Newcastle. We drew 0-0 at home. Obviously, not the result we expected. So let's talk about the performance on the pitch. We'll start with you, Aaron.
Yeah, obviously a really disappointing result. I know Newcastle are in really good form, but we should still be beating them, particularly at home. And with the players we have on the pitch, the amount of money we spend on these players, like a 0-0 draw home to Newcastle is not good enough. And it's not just the result; it's the manner in which we got the result. It didn't seem like we deserved to win. Didn't seem like we had much control. Obviously, a few things didn't go our way, but if Newcastle are hitting the woodwork against us more than once, then that's not a particularly great sign. So, yeah, really, really disappointing result, particularly after the two wins that we just had as well.
Elliot.
No, I'd agree with that. Like, I feel like we should be beating Newcastle at home. I feel like they were the better team in the first half, not gonna lie. But we had our chances, especially at the end. Rashford had a chance, and then Fred obviously missed a sitter. And then you had all the penalty controversial, and the disallowed goal. So it was quite a hectic game, but we should be beating them. So it was 2 points dropped. What do you, Kiri? What do you think?
So I mean, at half time, I probably thought Bruno was non-existent. Fred probably had the worst game I've ever seen him play this season. And I can't lie, the difference in us as a team with Eriksen and without is so massive. Like, just being able to create chances, keep the ball moving in midfield. It just Fred just looks so exposed, man. Like a fish out of water. Just if at half time you decided to call it a boxing match, I would say Newcastle probably threw more punches than we did.
100%. Yeah.
That's worrying. That's very worrying.
But it's the same with like the game against Omonoia. Like, we struggled to put the ball in the back of the net, even though we had so many chances. It was we had so many chances in both those games, and it's just, I know we won that game eventually on Thursday, but you shouldn't have to get like 93rd minute winner against that sort of thing.
It's weird because by the end of the Omonoia game, I'm by nature, and most of my friends know this every time I talk about United with them. Like, I am a positive United fan. Like, genuinely, I always look for the positive points first before the negative, but I don't ignore the negative stuff. But when we finished watching the Omonoia game, I thought we created chances. We played Ten Hag ball. Like, the whole point is to change our play style to Ten Hag's style, right? We did that during that game. We created chances, especially chances on target. Whereas against Newcastle, I just felt like we just looked toothless. Like, we did create, but it's like we couldn't finish, or our decision making was worse than what it was in the Omonoia game.
Like, are we too critical though of Ten Hag, because he hasn't been in the job that long, and it's like he has to win every single game because it's such a busy period, and he's Man United manager, of course, he's under that pressure. But are we too critical?
Maybe ever so slightly. Yeah, I guess we are a bit too critical of him, or like, you know, people who are criticizing him are harsh, but at the same time, like, I know he's still relatively new to the job, but I just want to see our team, you know, start to control games. Like, that's something we do very rarely. And like, for example, Sunday would have been a good opportunity to do that. You know, we're not playing, you know, a Man City like a few weeks ago or something like that. You know, it's Newcastle. Like,
speaking of Man City, imagine 8 of the shots on target that they've conceded in the last 3-4 games. Half of them have come from us. So, you know, just throwing that in there.
Yeah, but we still lost 6-3, so that is a bit of a problem.
That was a minor miracle that we only lost 6-3, but yeah, enough of that game. But yeah, nah. I guess. Huh?
Just throw that under the bus.
Yeah.
Just like De Gea last week.
Should have saved it.
Oh, not this again. Yeah, I think Eriksen defo not being there didn't help. He's our best player in my opinion. I really want to see how Eriksen does against like low block teams, particularly. Like, I think he has that creativity, that sort of nous.
I think we've already seen it because against teams like Everton, Leicester, we you know, they were playing low blocks at times and we were breaking them down with Eriksen. I think without Eriksen and with Fred in the team, I don't think we're going to be doing that if we get similar teams.
Yeah. Do you know? Go on, Elliot. Sorry.
I just don't rate Fred at all. He'll have one good game in like 15 games, but apart from that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What's funny is I think he looked really good in the last season and maybe even the season before, but I think that's when he played with Scott McTominay, which is kind of an indictment on Scott McTominay. But I won't upset Kiri too much, so we'll move on.
Well, let's look at it this way, and I'm glad you brought up Scott McTominay. If Scott McTominay played this game, again, I don't know if we would have seen something different, but it's like Scott McTominay is a different animal when he's playing that role where you make the late run into the box, mostly box to box, where he's already got someone behind him covering him, where he's not got a Fred where he has to do the role of 2 different people. He's got Casemiro, one of the world's best number 6s, and currently top 20 player and for Ballon d'Or. So, you know, like if Scott McTominay had that kind of cushion behind him, like you never know what he could do.
Like I would always play McTominay over Fred. So like Casemiro, McTominay, that could work.
Sorry, one quick final thing. I think if you're going to play Bruno as a number 10, he needs that sort of link player like an Eriksen. But I think Bruno isn't. He's obviously got his qualities, but like he's not at that stage where I can trust him to, you know, fully run a game unless he has like an Eriksen with him. So I think, for example, like it works so well in games like Arsenal, for example, and they both of them dovetailed really well. But I think having that DM and then having like a sort of link player between the DM and the number 10 in Eriksen, yeah, I think that would have been really good.
It's fantastic that you did mention Bruno because he was next on my notes. What do we think of Bruno at the moment?
I think there needs to be a conversation about him soon because I just think he's a bit all over the place. He came in, he had an amazing season, and he like transformed our team to a level we didn't, you know, we weren't at. But last year and so far this season, I feel like there needs to be a conversation about his form.
What do you think, Kiri?
I think it would really help if we had a player who could challenge Bruno for his position, like someone who was like of real quality and could come in and put in a performance better than Bruno at the moment. I think that would put pressure on him, and I think it would motivate him to like just do the basics again and not go for these Hollywood passes and just have better decision making in the final third.
Are we ruling out Eriksen from potentially being that player?
I think when they played together, it works quite well. Like you said, against Arsenal, it worked quite well. But because Bruno does the Hollywood pass, but Eriksen controls things. So
the different one of the biggest differences between is Eriksen can actually play that Hollywood pass, whereas Bruno thinks he can, but he can't, and it just annoys me so much.
No, I think Bruno can. No, it's not a question of whether they can do the Hollywood pass. It's more of when to do it. I think Eriksen's better at doing it because he keeps things simple.
He keeps it simple, but he can also do the outrageous passes. I've seen it as well. That's what I mean, eat from deep as well. Whereas, Bruno can do it, but it's like 1 in 30 attempts he'll do it, which is not good enough.
Yeah, so you give the ball away the other 29 times, and it's like
frustrating. I mean, if also on the topic of Portuguese players, Ronaldo. I mean, we're going to talk about Ronaldo. It would be a Man United podcast without him. What did we think of him during the Newcastle game?
Go on, Aaron, if you go.
He didn't have amazing service, to be fair. I think, like I said, that when talking about Ronaldo and his performance, like he is kind of reliant as well on like what's behind him, and it didn't seem like he had he didn't have like that many like clear-cut chances. Obviously, the goal that got ruled out was an interesting one that looked interesting. Like I think he had a case, but I thought. Sorry,
he had a very good case, I think.
Yeah, it did look like a weird decision. Reminds me, I think Nani did Nani did it against Spurs, didn't he? Like a decade ago, and that got given as a goal. I do think it was weird that he got taken off, even if he didn't have his most effective game.
It's weird because I genuinely think what he said in the post-match interview was that we're playing 3 games in 10 days and he's trying to rotate everyone. And I kind of agree. Like, we haven't got many attackers to play around with who could, like surefire start in the starting 11. So, like, if he wants to rotate players, yes, I would agree. Like, take off Ronaldo for Rashford.
Here's my thing: that last-minute chance that Rashford had, that's Ronaldo. That's a goal.
But also, I could, but also Rashford should be putting that away anyway. I can understand.
Top striker should finish that.
Yeah, I get that, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Ronaldo
maybe Rashford aerially just isn't it. But
what do you guys think about the fact that Ten Hag made one change in the whole game, and that was to take Ronaldo off, and for some reason keep Fred on the pitch when they're trying to find the goal? I know he brought Rashford on, but that's not the point. He took a striker off. He kept Fred and Casemiro and Bruno on. Didn't go so far in the back. Just sort of went striker for striker. But you see my point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it.
Here's the thing. If you go back to just after the Brighton game where we lost pretty badly and Ten Hag's like, okay, right, we're going to run 13 kilometers and I'm going to do it with you. Do you remember that training session where he was like, do you know what? There's a lot of scrutiny going around and the players were like, oh, screw it, it's going to be another training session. Yeah. But no, he made him run 13K and you joined in. And obviously there's this emphasis on trying to outrun other teams now and trying to be like because Newcastle are a physical team and their midfield was very physical, especially with substitutions they brought on. And I think the point he was trying to make was we made one sub and that was Ronaldo. And I genuinely stand by the fact that I said they could be rotating the attackers. If we've only made one sub across 90 odd minutes and they've made 5, maybe he's just trying to make a point of, our team's like running harder, like stamina's much higher. Just a thought.
I just thought it was weird, especially if he's saying about how rotating the team and everything and trying to rest players. He makes one sub in 90 minutes.
5 subs,
That's not resting the players. So.
Yeah, it's very Ollie-esque because Ollie used to do that. He'd hardly make subs until it was like really last minute.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But I mean, like, I feel like if there's Newcastle fans watching this, I feel like they'll feel like we're giving them a bit of a disregard because they're obviously in really good form, and they're a point behind us on the table. So it's not like we're like massive favourites to beat them, but like, we should have done. But
No, you're right. I mean, we even on our last podcast, we were talking about the game, and I think me and you particularly were like, wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw. So yeah, fair dues.
Well, I've even though we just got a point from this game, I could safely say we started out the season going like, what's the plan? Is it to win the Premier League or is it to finish in the top, like not to get relegated or to finish in the top four? And I think most of us can agree it's top four, right?
Yeah, but I still think like that's tough. That is a tough ask.
Getting top four. I mean, it's not easy. No.
It's not easy, but I think we're in contention definitely, right?
We are.
I think there are two teams I can strongly see finishing top. I mean, City are guaranteed. I don't see Arsenal not finishing top four, but other than that, I think it's up for grabs. I'm not fully convinced by Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea. I think
some of the big teams are dropping points to other big teams, so I think it's still open season.
Yeah, and I don't think any of the big teams look at Newcastle and think it's an easy game. So it's not like like we're playing Bournemouth at home. It's not one of those.
Gary Neville said after the World Cup, if Arsenal lose points with all the injuries and fatigue creeping in after such a major tournament, then it becomes an open season for first place. Genuinely, like if Arsenal start dropping points, City's going to start creeping in. Chelsea, Spurs, and here's the thing. It's going to sound really weird, but it's not impossible for us to win the league either. So I'm just trying to emphasize the point that Arsenal haven't got it in the bag.
Yeah, but City will win the league, mate.
Yeah. Still think it's City's to lose, definitely.
Yeah, but like it goes without saying, if it's still City's game to win, top four is still the same thing. Like it's open season. I think
top four
as long as we, yeah.
But obviously, we've got two big games coming up in the next, well, what is it, 5, 6, 7 days. So,
yeah, big week. Well, we've got Spurs on Wednesday and then Chelsea on Saturday night. What are your thoughts on those games, guys? Starting off with Spurs on Wednesday at Old Trafford.
Don't care.
We always say it's just Spurs relax, but with Conte. Seeing how we played against Newcastle, we could easily just park the bus. They could just park the bus and hit us on the counter, and we'd still struggle to break them down.
Yeah. I can see being go on, Elliot. Sorry.
Spurs are good this year. Like they're playing some good football. So, like I don't. Hopefully, it's one of those games that we can counter-attack them because we seem to be better at that than anything else. So,
it's literally the two counter-attacking teams against each other. I can see it being a really dull game when just both teams cancelling each other out. Maybe like one set-piece goal deciding or something. It's a weird fixture, man. It's very hard to predict. Like they've come to our ground and spanked us a few times recently. Like,
but also that spanking you're talking about, that was when we went on a run during lockdown after that game, didn't we?
I think
it was when we came back from preseason and we looked absolutely awful.
Yeah, it's true.
Maguire had a mare, like Shaw had a mare. This was just after the Euros, right? Yeah.
No, it was no. It was the season before Euros, but yeah, there was a.
Season.
It was the one that Martial got sent off. That didn't help as well, to be fair.
Right. Yeah, and it was Mourinho, wasn't it? That beat.
Yeah.
And then the Chelsea game. That's obviously a completely different game because you're away from home at Stamford Bridge, and our record there recently isn't amazing. So that's a tough game, and they're in good form at the moment.
They are in very good form. They're coming together nicely. Potter's made a very good start. He's unbeaten. I think he's won home and away to Milan. Very impressive.
Very impressive.
Without conceding a goal. It looks like he's the way he's bringing in players like Loftus-Cheek and Gallagher. They seem to have something going. So yeah, that's going to be that's the game I'm more worried about of the two. Particularly away from him, like you said, against Chelsea, we have a terrible record there. I think we've only won once in 10 years or twice in 20 years, something like that. And I think the time we won was recently. I think we won 2-0 there, but yeah.
We won in 2013, and that was when Hernandez scored.
I think
Chico.
Yeah.
That goal I think was offside as well. And they were down. And they were down. Yeah. And they were down to 9 men as well.
They were down to 9 men.
And even the game we won recently, we won 2020, just before lockdown. I remember Maguire did some nasty little kick on Batshuayi, which should have been a red card. And then he ended up scoring one of the goals. So we've had our luck against them, put it that way.
What? So just to finish, should we do a quick fire predicted 11 for the Spurs game?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, so starting goal. I don't think there should be an issue.
Dubravka.
Dubravka.
Get Lee Grant back.
Heaton. Van der Sar.
Van der Sar.
2 centre backs. Would you rest anyone or just go for Varane and Martinez again?
Butcher and Varane.
Yeah, has to be. No messing about.
Sweet. Then left back.
Big Shaw.
Yeah, I'll give it to Shaw.
Yeah, no question. Right back.
Dallo. Yeah. Back 5 speaks for itself.
Yeah. And then DM?
Casemiro and McTominay.
As the 2 D. Okay, so if we're doing 2 DMs, I would. Is Eriksen out for the Spurs game or is he still in?
What is the situation with him? Is he actually?
He is actually sick at the moment, so he's got an illness.
Well, hopefully he should be back then.
Yeah, I would like to think he'll be back if it's.
As of now, they're unsure if he will be fit for the Tottenham game. But yeah, we shall see. We'll find out in tomorrow's press conference.
We will.
Yeah. So we'll
just go with the fact that he's not available.
Yeah.
Okay. So who would your 2 midfielders be then, Kiri, or your 2 DMs?
I would probably go with Casemiro and. Oh God, probably have to go with McTominay. I wouldn't pick Fred after that nightmare game.
I'm going to be a bit controversial. I'm actually going to pick Fred. I can't like.
He play for Brazil.
No, it's not even just that. I just think Casemiro and McTominay as a midfield is too stale. At least I've seen in Fred. I know he must. I know his game on Sunday was really poor, really, really poor. But I still think he's a better footballer than McTominay, just in terms of carrying the ball, like a little bit of quality I see in him at least, even passing, etc. So I just think Casemiro and McTominay might be too stale. So yeah, I'd go with Casemiro and Fred.
That's the one change that we all 3 of us have. It's the back 5's the same.
Does Bruno play for you guys? Because I don't see anyone else coming in for him.
Who else? That's the thing. Who else?
Let's reduce Sancho as a number 10.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one way of getting him into the team, but I think as a number 10, it's a completely different role because sometimes it might need you tracking back. And I don't think Sancho does that quite.
Yeah, no, Bruno number 10. My front 3 would be, I'd put Rashford on the left, Antony on the right, and Ronaldo up top.
Me too.
Okay. And Ali, would you do the same?
I'll do exactly the same.
I probably wouldn't put Ronaldo up front because every time he plays, we just look disjointed. And we can't have Ronaldo and Rashford in the same front 3 because I feel like they're both selfish.
Really? I just think I get what you mean by the selfish part, but Ronaldo in these kind of games, he scored a hat-trick against them last season. It's Ronaldo.
Yeah, but I also feel like Rashford, overall, in the grand scheme of things, just Rashford's more clinical at the moment. I mean, barring the last 2 games, even before that, just Rashford's just looked better this season compared to Ronaldo.
Interesting.
Yeah, but Ronaldo hasn't had the chance.
Yeah, that's also a point. Yeah.
But, yeah. Well,
I'll probably go with Rashford, Sancho, and Anthony.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a big decision, but
Yeah.
like Sancho needs to do something a bit more for me, personally.
Definitely.
Like he had a good start to the season, Liverpool game, and then a couple of games afterwards, but now it's dried up again.
So, everyone, thank you for watching this week's chapter. We will be back next week with more. So yeah, thank you guys.